Good morning, Monday, May 3rd. We're going to continue our discussion of CPI, this time looking at the largest and, unfortunately, most controversial component, which is owner equivalent rent. From our previous video, if you recall, it makes up 23% of the CPI index. That is enormous, which is why I say unfortunately when I say that it's controversial. What is owner equivalent rent? Well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, looks at that instead of just actually looking at house prices. What is the goal of this? Well, they say a house, if purchased, has both a shelter component as well as an investment component. That is, it provides you somewhere to live, plus it serves as an investment, i.e. it goes up in value over time. And those of you who've taken my classes know that for the bottom 90% of the population, the house in which they live is their primary asset. Oftentimes, it's their only asset. That's something that we will try to change through knowledge in our videos, etc. But for the time being, let's look at OER. Here's a definition of what OER asks. Basically, hey, you own this house, but if you didn't own it, or you did own it, regardless, what rent would be charged for this house? Now think of someone like your parents. My parents, they bought their house in the late 70s. Do they know what the market rent is? Also, should we even be looking at the market rent? We already have a rent component that is what, 7 or 8% of the CPI, so why are we looking at rent again? Also, look at this. Roughly 2/3 of the country own their primary residence. Well, that's 2/3 of the entire country, and we're just going to kind of throw out the house price calculation and focus only on the shelter aspect of it? Just some things to think about. In our next video, I'm going to give you more graphs where I look at the difference between using OER and using actual house prices. Do you think those differences are small or large over the last 20 to 30 years? Something to think about. More to come in the next videos.